building a startup means you're trying to accomplish some very big goals with inherently limited resources. And what that usually means as entrepreneurs is you will sort of plan out and plot out exactly what you have access to and make sure that it's all fully utilized and hyper efficient, right? So um, when it comes to people in your company, let's say the engineering and product team, you want to make sure every single person knows what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how long it's going to take to do. Um, what what that can mean though is that you don't have any slack in the system. And so when surprises happen, when a customer needs something, when there's a bug, when there's an emergency, when things go down, you have to take people off the projects they're on, assign them to this new emergent situation, solve it, and then go back to what they were doing. Um, at AdMob, we had that problem pretty frequently. So our engineering team was fully allocated, and we would have either customers complaining, or we'd have the sales team needing some new feature in order to be able to get a really big deal done. And we would always have this sort of conflict that I would have to get involved in. It's sort of like, is this worth derailing what we're working on to go back and do this next thing? And we actually had one of our board members, a guy named Maynard Webb. He had been the COO of eBay, and he said at eBay what we built are swim lanes, and we actually built we basically built flex capacity. We built Slack, where a certain amount of the engineering team was not assigned anything. They were assigned to emergencies because we knew emergencies would happen, and rather than have everything fully allocated, we built a little bit of buffer. And so we actually tried that at AdMob. We took about maybe 20% of the engineering team, maybe a little bit less, maybe 10% of the engineering team, and they didn't have a job. They walked into the office and they weren't assigned anything that they needed to do, which was kind of sacrilegious actually if you're trying to be hyper efficient. But in reality, there was plenty to do. It just happened to be what needed to come up that day. We actually assigned them to sales and let sales set the priorities. And that really depressured a lot of what was happening between those two teams, and also allowed us to deliver what we needed for customers, and most importantly, allowed us to avoid switching costs. Getting people who are on a project to do something else, and then having to bring them back to the original project they were working on. Aside from the time it takes to just getting them to do that, the switching costs, like the mental startup of like this next thing and then going back to what you were doing before and remembering where you left off, that takes a lot of energy. And so as a startup gets to a certain size, I would encourage you to think about emergencies and surprises as, although the individual emergency surprise may be rare, those occurrences are common. And so perhaps build enough slack in your system to where there are people who that's their job. Their job is just to handle those things, and they're not necessarily assigned to anything long term that they have to switch on and off of in order to accommodate things that come up.